You may be wondering if a bathroom exhaust fan can be fixed, or if you need to replace the entire thing. Replacing the entire fan will cost more than $100 for the fan itself, plus labor, which can easily double or triple the cost. You can certainly replace the fan yourself. It'll be easier if it's accessible by the attic or an open space. But if the fan is on the first floor of a multi-story house, the job will be much more difficult due to the limited access and the sheetrock repair. In this video, we'll show you how easy it is to simply repair the fan. Most often, it is the motor that's causing the problem, and replacement parts can easily be found online or by visiting your local hardware store. Best of all, repairing it yourself will save time and keep costs down. One of our fans stopped working and would just hum when turned on. We were able to repair it for a little under $70 and a little time and research. Our fan is a Broan S90, which was about 18 years old, but we're still able to find replacement parts online. Fans aren't complicated, and these techniques should easily port over to whatever make and model of fan that you have. We hope this video helps. Alright, so we're going to try to replace the fan unit instead of replacing the entire thing. And you always want to make sure the power is off first, so we've made sure our switches are off. So we just pull it down like this. There's little spring clips up there, and then we kind of push the spring clips together to take this off. And so you can kind of see how these spring clips spring like that and connect into the parts of the fan. And then the next step is to unplug the fan right here. Okay, power is disconnected. And then what we're going to do is unthread this screw right here, and then it's kind of resting on these little clip ledges on the side here. Okay, so now we're just going to unthread this screw over here. And then kind of pull the fan down. In there. Okay, so now we've got the whole fan unit off, and part of the problem with this fan is when we turn the power on, the motor wasn't spinning at all. You just hear a little bit of a hum. So I think what happened is the motor itself is burned out, and I can show that to you as we take this unit apart. So now what we need to do is figure out what model number the fan is so that we can look up the replacement parts. So you basically look all around to see if you can find a spot where there's a model number, and here looks like when they were painting and finishing the room they covered over a little bit of the label, but you can see, I'll try to zoom in here, the model number right here is S90A. And that's the model number that we'll use to look up what parts we need to replace. Alright, so now what we're going to do is take this apart so we can, I think what the problem is the motor itself, which is about 18 years old, and we think the motor itself has burnt out. So the first step is going to be taking the wire off these clips here and being careful as we do it so we don't nick the insulation. And we'll do the same thing with this one. Okay, so the wire is disconnected, and we're going to flip it over and take off. So there's 1, 2, 3 screws here, so we're going to take those screws off. So we can disconnect the plate. Alright, now the plate's all disconnected. And then hopefully you can see that here are all the fan blades, and what we want to do is take this out. I'm going to grab pliers here, disconnect this here. Alright, so then the fan blade is out, and then we're going to flip this back over. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 screws here. So I'm going to have this plate right here. Put it over to the side. Looks like there was some sort of
I don't know, like rubber gasket or plastic gasket here that fits over there to kind of keep it scrunched together. So we're gonna put that over to the side, and then here's our motor. And it looks like there was another part on this side of the motor. Just gonna make a note of that so when we're doing the replacement parts. Alright, so this is the part that we think is bad, the motor unit. So probably want to take a look to see if you can get any model numbers off the label itself here, and this one's pretty faded. But you can see it says Broan Manufacturing, Hartford, Wisconsin. Has some safety ratings on it, a UL recognition label, and it also has some model numbers. Write all this stuff down so when we do our search online to try to find the part, hopefully we can quickly identify it.
Okay, so now we're going to go see if we can find the replacement parts online. And don't worry, we're going to put all these links in the description below so you don't have to write these down as I'm talking. So first we're going to go to parts.broan-NuTone.com because the Broan is the brand name of the exhaust fan that we were working on before. So visit their website, and if you remember from earlier, we found the model number was S90, so I'm going to type that in. And then here there's a bunch of irrelevant ones, the HS90, MS90, and S90. So this is the grill that we saw before, so this looks like the right unit. And sure enough, this is the part that we took up disassembled before. So if you take a look here, we've got our housing 1, we have our junction box 10, we've got our end plate 5, we have the motor mounting rubber 6, we've got the motor number 4, and then another mounting rubber number 6 there. And then we also have number 3 here is the scroll housing. We also have the blower wheel number 7, we have the mounting plate 2, and of course the grill assembly 17, and those are the spring clips that we saw before. So what we're going to want to do, since we think the parts we need to replace are the motor and those little motor mounting rubber number 6 there, is just find those in the motor parts list on the right here. So the first one we want to take a look at is the motor, and here's the part number 99080273, and before we started the recording, we actually found these parts on Amazon, so we can get the shipping pretty quickly here. So you notice that's the same part number, and it's for the Broan S90. And here on the Broan website, it's $71.16, but should be able to get a better deal on Amazon with quicker shipping. So that's anyway the motor that we want to order. And then also for those motor mounting rubbers, we've got number 6 here. And here's that part number, and you can just type that into Amazon and find the corresponding part. They've got them for $5 here, which seems like a pretty decent deal. And then the last part, because on the one that I took apart, the blower wheel looked a little banged up, so we're just going to order another one of those. And again, that was part number 7. And that part number is right here, and you can just again type that into Amazon and find the blower wheel, and here it was $872, and I probably can find a lower price as well on Amazon. So the first one, remember the motor number, that part number is right here. It's for the Broan S90, and they have it available on Amazon. The picture looks correct, so we can order that one. And then we also have those rubber motor mounts here, and the last one here would be the blower wheel. Okay, so we're gonna now put all these items in our cart, and we're gonna order them, and hopefully in a couple days they'll show up.
So we got all our parts here. Amazon delivered them pretty fast, so we can open them up, and hopefully we ordered the right parts and model numbers. So the first one is the motor. We'll take it out here and kind of look at these side by side. So the connectors are identical, which is good. And then you can see the new motor is in much better condition. It looks like the shaft is the right size. The model number's 30193 on both models, so that's good. And then the part number is 99080273. They're on both part numbers, so it looks like everything matches up and they look identical. So we'll take the old one, put it in the box. Here are the gaskets, so we can open these up. So here are the two replacement gaskets, and looks like they line up perfectly, which is good. And if you notice, take a look, I'm trying to squeeze both of them. So this was actually a little rubber gasket, and over time, the 18 years with the heat and everything, became completely solid. So these replacement parts should hold it in place better. So I'll take these and throw them in the garbage. And then I also ordered the replacement fan unit just because it wasn't very expensive, and why not have a new part. So compare those, they look identical here. Alright, and then notice this one has that little metal sleeve around it, which is going to be, I think, important for keeping it together. And it looks like this one here, that's what this part ended up being, but I'm glad I ordered a new one because we'll get a nice metal sleeve there. And we'll throw this one away. Alright, so what we're going to do is put these rubber gaskets back on. Alright, so they're both on. Alright, so now we're going to put the motor in place here. So I'm going to kind of line up the rubber gasket in there, get the wire about where we want it. Okay, and then we're going to put this, got the ground wire here. These guys line up. Alright, just put it back together in reverse order here. Alright, and now what we're going to do is put the wire back on the clip here. Alright. Alright, so now what we're going to do is flip it over and put this in here, and what we need to do is make sure we line up the flat surface here with the flat surface on the shaft. The other thing, just take this little metal piece off because these are little spring elements. So what we want to do is we got the shaft there, the flat part, kind of line it up with our motor shaft and push down. There we go. And what I want to do here is just make sure when we get this plate back on that this is still going to be able to freely spin. So I'm just kind of lining it up here, and it looks like it has no problem spinning. So maybe I'll just push it down a little bit more. And line this back up here. And yeah, so it doesn't rub, which is what we want to avoid there. So then what I'm going to do is put this piece, kind of bend it up a little bit and work it in. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we got that metal piece on there nice and tight, and this freely spins. So we're going to put the plate back on the top here, line up the holes, and start connecting the screws. Okay, and I can spin that freely inside, and with the old motor, something I noticed is that the motor wasn't even spinning the shaft, so I think the shaft was completely seized. You can feel the arrow coming out a little bit there. I think we're ready to go. Oh, and one thing still we have to do, I'm going to flip this back over, and we need to attach the last wire cup here. Kind of get that in there carefully. Alright, and now we're ready to reinstall it in the fan and the ceiling. Alright, so now we're going to put the fan back in. We have it all assembled here. So I'm just going to put it up here, and there's these little ledges on the side there that kind of hold it. And then push this up here. And, put this back, screw back in here. Alright, nice and tight. And then what we're going to do is connect the wire. Alright, we're all set to go. Okay, so now we'll turn the switch on, see if it's working. Alright, so now we're going to put the cover back on. So remember, we have the spring clips, and we'll just put those in, push it back up, and we're done.